You are standing in your childhood kitchen. The fluorescent light flickers. One blink. Two. You have been watching that light flicker since you were 7 years old. You used to stand on the counter and tap the casing with your palm, and it would hold steady for a few seconds. You thought you were fixing something. You weren't. You were just a kid who needed to believe he could. You are standing here now. Your hands are dirty. Not with grease. Not with mud from the yard outside. With something darker. Something that doesn't rinse out the same way. Something that has worked itself under your fingernails and behind your eyes and into the center of your chest where you used to feel things without having to decide how to feel them first. You look at your hands. You look at them the way you look at evidence. Across the kitchen, you feel her before you see her clearly. Your mother, standing very still near the stove with the fixed left burner and the cracked tile on the backsplash that you keep meaning to have replaced. You feel her the way you feel a room change temperature. You look up. She is not yelling at you. She is not crying. She is just looking at you. And you recognize something in her face that you have never seen before. Something slow. Something that moves behind her eyes like a thought she can't finish. Something worse than any expression any face in any room has ever shown you. You watch her take one step back. Just one. Her left foot finds the floor behind her, and her hand reaches for the counter without her looking, and she holds it. You understand what that means. She is not reaching for support. She is reaching for distance. From you. You open your mouth. Nothing comes out. Because you already know the question. You don't need to ask it. It forms anyway, slow, cold, and quiet as a concrete floor at 5 a.m. What did you do to make the only person who ever loved you step away from you? Step 1, the errand boy. It doesn't start with a choice. Not really. It starts with a Tuesday. You wake up at 5:47 a.m. because your alarm went off at 5:45, and you always lie there for 2 minutes telling yourself you have somewhere better to be. You don't. You have a warehouse shift at a distribution center on the east side of Houston. $12.40 an hour. No benefits. No path. Just a concrete floor and a scanner gun and a supervisor who talks to you like you owe him something. And you have learned to keep your face neutral and your mouth closed because you need the $12.40. You are running on 3 jobs and 4 hours of sleep and a protein bar from the gas station because that's the dinner you can afford tonight. You are not lazy. That is the part nobody gets right when they tell this kind of story. You are not lazy. You are not careless. You are not someone who chose the wrong thing because it was easier. You are 23 years old and you are exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You watch your paycheck arrive and disappear before you can feel it. Rent. Utilities. Your mother's prescriptions. The blood pressure ones, the ones that aren't cheap and that she quietly stops taking when things get tight, hoping you won't notice, and you always notice, and it sits in you like a stone. You are standing outside the gas station on a Thursday evening eating a bag of chips for dinner. Literally, a bag of chips, because you spent the last of your cash on her medication refill when your cousin Marcus pulls up. You have been watching Marcus from a distance for a while. You notice the way he carries himself. Unhurried. You notice the shoes that are not waiting to fall apart. You notice the car that starts on the first try. You notice the way a man moves when he is not behind on something. He looks at you, at the chips, at your face. He doesn't make it dramatic. He just says, I know a way you can stop doing this to yourself. And you are 23 years old. And you are tired. And you say yes. Not because you want power. Not because you want danger. Because you want to stop eating chips for dinner. Because you want her prescriptions filled. Because exhaustion, when it goes on long enough, becomes its own kind of answer. This is how it starts. Not with greed. With exhaustion. You tell yourself it's temporary. Deep down, in the part of yourself you are already learning to ignore, you know it isn't. Step 2, the runner. The first job is a delivery. That's the word they use. Delivery. Like you're doing DoorDash. Like you're dropping off something that came with a receipt. You drive a 2009 Camry with a cracked rear bumper to an address in Pasadena. You carry a backpack. You do not open the backpack. You hand it to a man on a porch. You accept a smaller bag in return. You drive back. You do not ask what is in the backpack. You think about asking. You breathe. You look at the road. You do not ask. The whole thing takes 40 minutes. 40 minutes. And when you come back, you are holding $300 in cash. You stand there staring at it. $300. You made $300 in 40 minutes. Clean bills. No Daryl. No scanner gun. No standing in chemical runoff outside a car wash in August heat until your lower back stops feeling like your lower back. You feel something move inside your chest. Not guilt. Not yet. Something that feels. And this is the part that bothers you later, The part that sits with you. Something that feels like relief. You go home. You slide $200 into the drawer where your mother keeps the utility envelopes. When she asks, you say you picked up an extra shift. You watch her face relax. You watch some of the tightness leave her shoulders. You stand in the kitchen and you feel two things at the same time. A warmth that you recognize as love, and an unease that you don't have a word for yet. You lie in bed that night, and the math does itself without your permission. If 40 minutes equals $300, and you have 4 free evenings a week, and none of this requires anything beyond a working car and the discipline to not ask questions, the math doesn't stop. You try to sleep. The math continues. At 2 in the morning, the house is quiet, and you are staring at the ceiling, and something small and cold sits at the edge of your thoughts. Not screaming, not demanding, just there. The way a door stays in a doorframe. Open. The money feels good, but something about how easy it was feels wrong. You count the bills again. You tell yourself next week you'll feel differently. You don't. Step 3, the soldier. 3 months later, you are no longer doing deliveries. You are present. That's the word you hear now. We need you present, which means you are in rooms. You are near conversations that don't get repeated. You are positioned in a way that communicates things without you saying anything, and you learn to read what a room needs from you before anyone tells you, the way you used to read a warehouse floor before Daryl could get to you. You are good at this. That surprises you. How quickly you are good at this. Around week 6, you stop asking questions. You don't decide to. It just happens. The same way you stop noticing a smell when you've been inside it long enough. 1 week you needed things explained. The next week you already know. And the week after that, you understand something quietly and without ceremony, that not knowing was the only part of this that was safe. You learn in increments. Each step arrives so close to the last that it doesn't feel like a step at all. It feels like Tuesday. It feels like the next natural thing. You start watching people more than you talk. You learn to read the room the way you used to read a supervisor. What does this person need from me right now? And what do I give them? And what do I keep? You learn to carry information the way you carry your posture. Without expression. Without weight. And somewhere during week 10 you notice a man watching you. He is older. Maybe 50, maybe more. The kind of face where time has done something specific and left it there permanently. He moves through rooms the way furniture doesn't. He is simply in a place, and then he is in another place, and you never quite catch the transition. They call him the cleaner. You don't ask why. He watches you during a meeting one evening, and you feel it without looking. The specific weight of being read rather than watched. Like he isn't looking at what you're doing. Like he's looking at what you're going to become. You don't speak to him, but something in you recognizes something in him, and you don't know yet whether that recognition is a warning or a prophecy. You are trusted now, with timing, with names, with locations that matter. What hurt most wasn't what you were doing. It's how normal it started to feel. And then one evening, they stop asking you. They just expect you. Step 4, the enforcer. They give you a task. They don't use the word task. They use a cleaner word, a shorter word, a word that keeps the shape of the thing far enough away that everyone in the room can maintain a certain arrangement of the face. But you know what it is. And for the first time since the backpack and the Camry and the porch in Pasadena, for the first time since you stopped asking questions and started being trusted, something inside you stalls. It is not fear. You have moved through enough rooms and enough mornings to have recalibrated your relationship with fear. What moves through you in this moment is older than fear. Deeper. The kind of thing that doesn't live in the mind. That lives in the body. In the place between your sternum and your stomach. You hesitate. One breath. Half a second. You feel it happen and you cannot stop it from being visible. And across the room, you feel eyes on you. The cleaner is standing near the wall. He is not the one giving instructions. He is just there the way he is always just there. And he is watching your face with the particular stillness of a man who has already seen this moment happen many times before, in many rooms, on many different faces. You complete the task. You don't let yourself think about it while you do it. You file that skill away with the others. Later that night, you are sitting in a parked car in a McDonald's lot with the engine running and the radio on a frequency you aren't listening to, and the window down, and the Houston heat against your face, and the cleaner is beside you. You didn't invite him. He is just there. He says, the moment you hesitate is the moment you show them you still have a conscience. You don't answer. He says, in this world, a conscience is a liability. He gets out. He doesn't look back. You sit in that parking lot longer than you should. You replay the words. Not because they frighten you. Because some part of you, a part you have been methodically burying under every passing week, already agrees with him. And the thing you cannot look at directly is this. He wasn't giving you a compliment. He was giving you a map. And you already know which road you are on. In this world, hesitation is dangerous. You put the car in drive. Step 5, the ghost. You stop going home. Not all at once. The way things happen in your life now, it happens in increments. You go less, then less again. Then you are calling instead of visiting. Then the calls get shorter. Then the calls get fewer. You tell yourself you are busy. You tell yourself it is safer if she doesn't see too much. Both things are true. Neither thing is the reason. The reason is what you see in her face now when you do go. She hasn't stepped back from you again. Not like that first time. Not with the counter and the distance and the thing in her eyes that broke something in you. But she watches you differently. Not with fear. With a kind of careful attention. Like she is assembling a picture she isn't sure she wants to finish. You can't sit inside that. You don't have the room for it. So you stay away. And you send money. Every week, without fail. Her prescriptions are full. The left burner got repaired by a man you paid through a number Marcus gave you. The tires on the car got replaced. The electric bill stopped threatening. The house is better than it was when you were sleeping in it. You tell yourself that this is care. You tell yourself that money is a language of love. That you are providing. That the boy who ate chips for dinner and watched her shoulders carry things they were never designed to carry has done something for her. Has fixed something. But providing is not the same as being present. You know this. You carry it the way you carry other things now, without expression, without letting it surface, filed under things you will deal with later in a drawer that doesn't have a later. You call on Sunday nights. Everything fine. Work is fine. You are fine. She asks when she'll see you. You say soon. You both know what soon means. You hang up and you sit in whatever room you are sitting in. Hotel, safe house, the back seat of a moving car. And you look at the phone in your hand and you feel the specific, quiet weight of the life you have constructed. You used to be the thing that made that house feel full. Now you are the thing she waits for. You're still the same person, right? You say it like a question now, because somewhere this year, it stopped being a statement. Step 6, the lieutenant. You have a name now. Not your name. A name that belongs to what you have become. A name that opens doors before your hand reaches for the handle. A name that makes conversations pause and then restart more carefully when you enter the room. You feel this. You feel it in your body before you understand it in your mind. The way a room adjusts. The way eyes move toward you and then deliberately move away. The way the specific silence that follows your name being spoken in a hallway is a different quality of silence than the one that came before it. You have money you cannot fully spend without explaining it. You have a truck that costs more than your mother earned in 5 years of double shifts at the laundry on Westheimer. You have men who watch the way you hold your posture and take their cues from it. You stand in a parking garage on a January Tuesday night, and you look out at Houston, all orange light and flat geometry, a city of freeways and warehouses and gas stations and car washes and distribution centers where 23-year-olds eat chips for dinner and do math in their heads that never adds up, and you let yourself feel it. You made it. You think, I made it. The cleaner appears beside you. You stopped being surprised by this a long time ago. He looks at the city for a moment. He doesn't say anything right away. Then, power doesn't change you. A pause. It reveals what you were always willing to become. You stand there with that. You don't answer because the honest answer, the one that lives below the posture and the name and the truck and the room that adjusts when you enter, the honest answer is something you are not ready to say out loud in a parking garage or anywhere else. The honest answer is that the thing you are becoming does not feel entirely like a stranger to you. The honest answer is that somewhere along the way, the distance between who you were and who you are now stopped feeling like a crossing. It started feeling like home. And standing here, with everything you have built and everyone who now watches you enter rooms, you feel it. Quiet. Centered. Empty. For the first time, you realize you might not like what you are becoming. You don't say that out loud. You look at the city. The city doesn't look back. Step 7, the underboss. A man named Trevino is no longer there. You notice it before anyone says anything. You feel the absence the way you now feel all things, in your body first, before your mind names it. A specific density is gone from the organization. A particular weight has been removed. His phone is dark. His name stops being spoken. You watch the space where he existed simply close around itself, smooth and unremarkable, the way water closes over a stone, And you watch it happen without anyone marking it or acknowledging it or changing the temperature of a single room. You knew Trevino the way you know most people in this life. Well enough to read his function. Not well enough to know what he ate for breakfast or whether there was someone at home tracking his hours. He was not weak. That is what you sit with. Trevino was not careless. He was not someone who made the visible mistakes. He was competent and consistent and present. He did what was asked. He understood the rules. He gave the organization no visible reason. And he is gone. You feel the math change. You thought competence was the currency here. You thought loyalty was a kind of protection. You built something in your mind, a contract, unwritten, unspoken, but real, that said, do the work, don't make the obvious mistakes, be useful, and the organization holds you. You sit in a meeting 2 days later. The men around you do not acknowledge the absence. Not once. Not by the movement of an eye toward his former position in the room. Not by the particular kind of quiet that should follow a loss. Nothing. You watch their faces. You understand something then that you cannot unhear. There is no contract. There is only utility. And the day your utility changes, the day you know too much or cost too much or threaten too much, it won't matter what you've done. It won't matter how long you've been here. It might be because of how long you've been here. You look at your hands under the table. The same hands. The scar on the left index finger from the box cutter in the warehouse. You think about the cleaner's words. Everyone here thinks they're surviving. Until they realize they forgot what they were surviving for. You are surviving. You are no longer certain what for. You are not part of the system. You are inventory. Step 8, the boss. You sit at the head of the table now. Nobody tells you to sit there. You sit there because it is where you belong in the current arrangement of this room, and the room knows it, and the men around you know it, and you know it, and none of that knowledge makes you feel what you expected it to make you feel. They bring you the task directly. No intermediaries. No layers. Just the men at the top sitting across from you in a room that smells like leather and coffee, and the particular kind of quiet that belongs to rooms where irreversible things get decided. And they tell you what needs to happen. And they look at you the way men look at you when the outcome is already determined and the meeting is only a procedure. You hear the word form in your mind before you can stop it. Irreversible. Everything before this moment had a story you could tell yourself. You crossed lines, yes. You did things the boy in the warehouse could not have held in his body. But there was always a version, a 3 a.m. version, a version you rehearsed in cars and hotel rooms and quiet hours, where you could argue you were surviving, where circumstance explained you, where the weight of it was real but the story could hold it. This is different. This is the thing you carry and never set down. And before you say anything, before your mouth moves, you feel it. The hesitation. The same reflex. The same half-breath from the McDonald's parking lot. A door opens behind you. The cleaner enters the room. He stands against the wall. He doesn't look at the table. He looks at you. And after a moment that contains everything the two of you have never said directly to each other across all the rooms and parking lots and January nights, he says, "You still feel something." A pause. That's rare here. The room waits. You look at your hands on the table. The scar on the left index finger. You understand what he just said. You understand what he did not say. And you sit there, at the head of this table, in this room, in this life you built one small step at a time from a warehouse on the east side of Houston at $12.40 an hour, and you understand the choice completely. If you say no, you lose everything. If you say yes, you lose yourself. Step 9, the machine. You say yes. No music. No moment. No slow exhale that signals something ending. You just say yes. And then you do it. And then you are on the other side of it. And the morning comes anyway. That is the part you were not prepared for. Not the doing. The after. The morning that arrives without permission. The coffee that gets made. The phone that buzzes. The sun coming up over Houston the way it always does. Enormous and indifferent. Burning the clouds off the horizon and lighting up a city that did not stop for you. You expected to feel something sharp. What you feel instead is quiet. Like static. Like a signal that used to carry something and now only carries its own frequency. You sit in a parked car in the 3rd Ward and you look at your hands on the steering wheel. Same hands. The scar on the left index finger. Same skin. Same knuckles. You have been looking at these hands for 31 years. You look at them now the way you look at something that used to belong to you. Everything the same. Everything different. You think about the kitchen. The flickering light. The fixed left burner. Your hands at the sink. Dirty. And the feeling of being seen. You think about the cleaner's face in the room when he said you still feel something. You think about the past tense that should have been. You think about how honest the past tense would have been. You think about Trevino. You think about how the space around him closed. You think about what your own absence would look like from inside this same room. The same. Exactly the same. You have climbed every rank of this. You have been the errand boy and the runner and the soldier and the man with the name. You have provided. You have done irreversible things. You have sat at the head of the table. And you are not free. You are not safe. You are not powerful. You are useful. For now, you are not going to leave. That's the part they never told you. Leaving was never the danger. Staying was. Step 10, the other side. Here is the truth. You do not walk away. You don't get the morning of ordinary coffee. You don't get the quiet drive back to the house on the street where you grew up. You don't get to stand in that kitchen and look at your mother and have her look at you and find, somewhere behind your eyes, the boy she raised still in there. You don't get that. You stopped being able to give her that a long time ago. The cleaner disappears one Thursday. You hear it the way you now hear everything, through absence. His name stops being said. His position in the rooms closes over. You feel the density change, and you know, the same way you knew with Trevino, before anyone confirms it. You don't ask what happened. You already know what happened. He said the unsayable things to too many people in too many parking lots over too many years. He looked at men who still felt something, and he told them the truth about what feeling something costs here. You should have listened harder. You know that now. But knowing doesn't rearrange the hours. It doesn't take back the yes. It doesn't put the hesitation back in your body. It doesn't return the version of you that flinched. You are 31 years old. You have money you cannot explain. You have a name that closes mouths when it enters a room. You have men around you at all times, and you have never been more alone in your life. Your mother is alive. Her prescriptions are filled. The house is better than it was. She calls sometimes. You answer when you can. She stopped asking questions about 2 years ago. You noticed the exact week it happened. You noticed the way the silence shifted, from the silence of someone choosing patience to the silence of someone who has accepted something. And the silence where her questions used to be is the loudest thing you carry. You have everything. You have nothing that matters. And the most dangerous thing this life ever took from you wasn't your freedom, wasn't your safety, wasn't the version of yourself you might have been. It was the moment your mother stopped expecting you to come back. Not with a sound. With nothing. That's when you knew it was already over. And that's the question nobody asks before they step in. Not what will I gain, but what am I willing to become, and what happens when I can't go back? So I want to ask you directly. At which point in this story would you have walked away? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit you somewhere real, if it made you think, made you feel, made you sit with something, hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it means everything to a channel like this. Subscribe if you're new. We tell stories here that most people don't have the courage to sit with. And I'll see you in the next one.